Since its release, the Honda Accord has been one of the best-selling cars in the US market. Now in its 10th generation, the Honda Accord still remains one of the most appealing vehicles in the mid-size sedan segment. And for 2021, Honda has given the Accord a few updates to make sure this vehicle remains one of the best in its class.
The Honda Accord can be had a number of different ways. Of course, there's the standard gasoline car, but today we're spending some time with the hybrid. Prices start at $26,570 for the base car and top out over $36,000 for the touring trim. Our Accord Hybrid is an EXL with a starting price of $32,890. The EXL offers the most features while still maintaining the maximum gas mileage.
Up front is where you'll find most of the updates for the 2021 model year, starting with a new larger grille, as well as these updated all-LED headlights that can be found on the EX trim and higher. Viewing the Honda Accord Hybrid from the side, you can get a good look at its flowing fastback design. And while these 17-inch wheels aren't as stylish as the ones found on the higher touring trim, they do serve a purpose.
The smaller wheels offer lower rolling and wind resistance, providing better gas mileage. The EXL and lower trims offer 48 miles per gallon regardless of where you drive, while the touring trim with the larger 19-inch wheels gets 44 miles per gallon in the city, 41 on the highway, and 43 miles combined. The rear end continues to look just okay in my opinion, with uninspired styling, and in this hybrid trim, no visible exhaust outlets. The interior also receives some updates for the 2021 model year. Most notable is the 8-inch touchscreen, which is now standard across the entire lineup. Previously, the touchscreen was an option on some models. There's an optional wireless phone charging pad, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is a first for any vehicle in Honda's lineup, and USB ports for rear passengers. All of these features can be had starting with the EX trim. It's worth noting that wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard on lower trims. The touchscreen works well, has great colors, and is sensitive to touch inputs. For the most part, the menus are straightforward, and luckily Honda keeps physical buttons for commonly used controls such as volume and tuning. Below the display are the climate controls, again thanks to Honda for using physical buttons that make changing the temperature straightforward. I like the added touch of the lighting on the dial glowing blue when you lower the temperature and glowing red when you raise the temperature. The wireless phone charger is located in a space below the climate controls. On the center console are large cup holders and the controls for the transmission. There are push buttons for park, reverse, neutral, and drive. The Accord Hybrid can be set to different drive modes using the buttons on the console. EV will allow for fully electric power, but for only very short distances, and if you apply too much throttle, the gasoline engine will join the party. Still a great option to have if you want to conserve as much gasoline as possible. Econ mode seeks to get the best fuel economy available, and the Sport mode has been updated for the hybrid, and it provides notably quicker acceleration over last year's car with a respectable amount of immediate torque. Sitting in the front seats, you're treated to soft leather that can be heated. If you want ventilated seats, opt for the touring trim. They don't provide a ton of side support, but this isn't a sports car. For long trips, the seats are plenty comfortable. The steering wheel is wrapped in high-quality leather. There are paddle shifters on the back to adjust the amount of regenerative braking, although I didn't notice much of a difference between each mode. The gauge cluster is split between a digital gauge and an analog gauge for the speedometer. There is a lot of information that can be seen in the digital display, and the colors are bright and the graphics are sharp. One of the Accord's most notable selling points is the amount of room in the overall cabin. There's a ton of headroom and legroom both in the front and in the rear. The center console and glove compartment offer good space for storing items. With the driver's seat set in a very generous position, I still found there was plenty of legroom in the rear. I could genuinely stretch out, and the leather seats were just as soft and comfortable as those up front. The doors do have some hard touch panels, but the overall fit and finish is still good. Opening the trunk, the large amount of space continues with 16.7 cubic feet of cargo space, which is the most among its major competitors. The seats can be let down using levers in the trunk to expand the space for larger items. Underneath the floorboard, you will find more space for storage, as well as a fix-a-flat kit. If you're looking for the most features with the best gas mileage, I would suggest the EX or EXL trim. They both come loaded with options and are capable of 48 miles per gallon. The EXL adds notable features over the EX, such as a 10-speaker audio system, dimming rearview mirror, a memory driver's seat, and a power passenger seat. While the Touring trim's notable added features are a head-up display, Wi-Fi hotspot, Honda's built-in navigation, ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, adaptive dampers, and 19-inch wheels. It's worth noting that all trims come standard with the Honda Sensing Driver Assist technologies.
Now, the Accord Hybrid does come with a number of driver assistance features, but for me personally, I tend to have a lot of those turned off while I'm driving, as I don't like the tugging at the steering wheel and the flashing lights that you tend to get with those systems. But I do like the stop and go cruise control when I'm driving on the highway, and Honda has updated the system for the 2021 model year, so it's a little bit better than the previous version, but you still get a little bit of ping-ponging in between lanes when you're driving. So I don't think this system is as good as the systems you'll find on the Hyundai Sonata or on the Kia K5. Nevertheless, most drivers won't notice a difference, and they'll likely appreciate having these features. And Honda's cruise control system with stop and go technology as well as lane keep assist technology is pretty decent. They did upgrade their camera system for the 2021 model year, so it should be a little bit better than it has been in the past, but nonetheless, it still will ping pong you a little bit in between lanes, and it can be a little bit aggressive when it's stopping, but you can set the amount of distance that you want between yourself and the car in front of you. And I find that it works best when you're on the highway, or at least on a road like this where it's pretty straight and you're not doing too much turning, as the system, as I mentioned, will ping pong you between lanes a little bit if you're doing a little too much turning. And it's not self-driving, so don't get that confused. This will not drive itself. It still requires you to be pretty attentive to what's going on. But on the highway, it's a pretty good system, and you don't have to do too much steering or too much stopping, as the system will stop and go for you. As you see here, switch lanes, and it knows there's no car in front of me, so it'll pick up speed. And now this car is turning, so it's slowing down. It's still braking, still braking, still braking, still braking. Now it decides to go. So it is a little bit off just in terms of how much control or how sensitive it is or how attentive it is to actually what's going on. So there still can be some calibration that Honda could do to make it a better system. I think Kia and Hyundai system, their system is a lot better than this. And of course, Tesla has a very, very good self-driving system. Historically, the Honda Accord has been one of the best driving cars in the midsize sedan segment, and for the 2021 model year, that's still the case. Now, obviously, I have the hybrid version, which there's a lot to be said about the powertrain, and I'll certainly get to that a little bit later, but right now I really want to focus on the overall platform.
This EXL trim makes do with standard dampers, but I didn't once wish for adaptive dampers found on the Touring trim. The Ride does a great job at absorbing imperfections in the road, and interior vibrations are next to zero.
For me, the Honda Accord has always had the most balanced chassis in this segment. The Toyota Camry leans a little too soft, and the newest entries from Kia and Hyundai, the K5 and the Sonata, while they're really good, they still don't have the cohesiveness that you get with the Honda Accord.
Honda also improved the steering for the 2021 model year, and it's noticeable when taking the car into turns.
The steering is light and very direct, so even in tight turns, there's not a lot of body roll. and that gives you a sense of confidence when you're driving the Honda Accord.
This platform is easily the best in the segment. The Honda Accord's hybrid powertrain is made up of a 143 horsepower gasoline 4-cylinder and a 181 horsepower electric motor. Combined, the system makes 212 horsepower and a solid 232 pound-feet of torque as soon as you touch the throttle. The electronic continuously variable transmission does leave a bit to be admired, as it does make the car sound quite harsh during acceleration. Most people buying this car won't care, but it certainly left me wishing for the automatic found in Honda's gas-powered Accords. Compared to its main competitors, the Toyota Camry and Hyundai Sonata hybrids, both the Toyota and Hyundai have models capable of getting over 50 miles per gallon. However, those numbers are only available on the base trims. Once you opt for more features, the Accord's 48 miles per gallon leads the group. The Accord Hybrid also offers a superior chassis and driving dynamics. If it were my money, I would opt for the Accord Hybrid in EXL trim, although the EX trim likely offers the most bang for the money. But regardless of which Accord Hybrid you choose, I feel comfortable saying with the 2021 model year updates, you'll be getting the best all-around car in this segment. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. You can also find us on Instagram at rideXdrive.